The Tallboy Experience.
Tallboy.
So Spike got the honorary Oscar, and he made the comment that there are not enough, people of color making decisions in Hollywood, and that's true. There are some executives that look like us, but very few of them have green-lighting power. So what that means is that a lot of times you're trying to, market and sell your story concepts about us, about people of color, to people that don't necessarily have that same level of experience. So it's important, if you really want to have truly authentic stories, to have people in those rooms in Hollywood that can have that perspective and say, no, this is why this is important, or no, black people or Asian people or Latino people or whatever don't act and think like this, they act like this. And the more people like that we have, the better the stories will be, and the more that we'll support those.
People in positions in Hollywood have been scarce in terms of people of color for a long time. It has changed, it has gotten better. However, there's still room for growth, and Spike Lee made that comment not long ago. And when we started in this business, almost 30 years ago now, there was that same comment he made, and that he can still make that comment and it be true all of these years later is really sad. So I believe that when we do get those opportunities and are elevated in what we do, that we have to take it on personally, and it has to be important to us personally to pull up those that we can, and eventually there will be those power positions that will be filled by people that look like us.
Yeah, I completely agree that there aren't enough executives of color in Hollywood, and it's a problem that has existed as long as I've been in the business, and I've been in the business about 20 years. So it's something that needs to be addressed. It's a very complex issue. It requires a multifaceted approach. It requires studio heads and network heads and company heads from the top down to be committed to it, and not just committed to it on the HR side of things, but committed to it on the creative side of things. And with that commitment, there has to be, programs to be able to have a system to funnel in qualified executives of color and giving them an opportunity. They have to be apprenticed. So it's a very difficult, complex problem that can be addressed, but it's going to require time, it's going to require money, and it's going to require a commitment from the top down.
You know what? I can't speak for Spike. I can't speak about where Spike's coming from, because that's his own perspective that I don't have. I can tell you from my perspective, I haven't thought of it in that sense. I just think, for me, you just do your work, and then if you get into a position of authority or power, then you have a responsibility. But I don't believe in trying to get to a position of authority or power. There's the documentary Pale Blue Dot, where he says, they pull back from the earth and they say, look, here's the earth, and many men have tried to conquer and have spilled blood just to become the momentary master for a moment in time on a speck in space, just this tiny dot. So in the grand scheme of things, for me, getting all philosophical, it doesn't really matter. If it helps someone, I think it's great. But I have a hard time sort of bringing it back down to earth, in a sense.
I was made aware that Spike made some comments when he received an honorary Oscar. I didn't watch the event, so I'm perhaps paraphrasing, but I think that he did point to the fact that there aren't enough images of black people in positions of authority, power, respectability, all of these things. I agree with that, but I think that I don't think there's a shortage of black images in the media. I think that, however, the best way to address the problem of what those images are is to do things for yourself. I think when you're asking someone to tell your story, you're going to get their version of your truth. How should they know? Why should they know your truth better than you know your truth? And if it is a truth that we can agree upon, being people in a certain demographic or people of color, then we should make it for ourselves. So in this digital age, in this age of increased technology at decreased prices, I think that we have an obligation to do for ourselves and stop expecting people in frustration to do for us. And so that's my caveat to everybody. You got a phone, you got a camera, make a movie. Get some audience people, figure out how to get it done. Hustle, and you can get your own audience, and you won't have to ask somebody to do for you what you can do for yourself.
Think big, think tall, think tall boy.